Pope Francis hit the headlines this week when his support for same-sex civil unions was revealed in a new film documentary. This led to bishops all around the world, including our own, reaffirming the Church's teaching on the sanctity of marriage between a man and a woman. But Pope Francis was not negating the Church's teaching on marriage. In saying what he said, Francis is doing no more than what Christ declares in today's gospel, to love our neighbor as we love ourselves. Because love, as we all know from our own experiences, takes us out of our comfort zone. We don't love someone because they believe what we believe, or think the way we think, or live as we live. We love our neighbor because they, just like us, are created in God's image and likeness. And that's always the opening premise. To give someone the respect that they deserve as a son and daughter of God does not mean that we change what we believe to match what they believe. We may think very differently, but we still respect each other for who we are, because respect is always a welcome guest, as it tempers one's judgment. When Pope Francis was the Cardinal Archbishop of Buenos Aires, the Argentinian government legalized same-sex marriage. And as Archbishop, he deeply regretted this decision, preferring civil unions as the way to protect the legal rights of a same-sex couple. His hope and desire was to protect the sanctity of marriage between a man and a woman. The Church is not going to be changing her teaching on marriage. Marriage is a sacrament, the most intimate union between a man and a woman, mirroring the intimacy of God's love for all of us. A sacrament is a mirror through which we see and encounter the presence of a loving God. It is creative love, and the crown of this creative love is new life, the gift of children. But true love is always creative and life-giving, but we cannot dictate how love is channeled between one person and another. I'm in the midst of reading the latest encyclical from Pope Francis, titled Fratelli Tutti, Fraternity and Social Friendship. It's a beautiful document. And the Pope presents a vision of the world as one family, especially in the light of the coronavirus, which has affected practically every nation on this earth in so many different ways. How will the human family emerge from this? Will we emerge with greater compassion and understanding of one another? And the Pope gives a wonderful reflection on the parable of the Good Samaritan, probably one of the best known parables of all. In today's gospel, the aim of the Pharisees is to test Jesus on the law. This troublemaker Jesus, who has silenced the Sadducees and complicated the lives of the Pharisees by uncovering their hypocrisy, and opened God's heart to everyone, and not just to his own people. Jesus personifies God's law. He brings it alive, as we all know, through his words and actions. God's love is Jesus Christ. On another occasion, Jesus is asked, "Who is my neighbor?" And from that question flows the well-known parable of the Good Samaritan. At the time of Jesus, one's neighbor usually meant the people who were nearest to you. One's help went to one's own group and race. There was no need for anyone to look any further. Well, the parable of the Good Samaritan actually knocks that right out of the water. A Samaritan was not one of their own group or race. In fact, there was great animosity between the people of Israel and Samaritans. So making the Samaritan, a Samaritan, the hero of the story would not have gone down at all well with Jesus's hearers, and would have given them even more reason to take him out of the picture. It's a bit like listening to some of the reaction to what Pope Francis said about civil unions, which has got a lot of Christians hot under the collar because we are being challenged to think outside of the box, as if the rug of certainty has been pulled from under our feet. A gay person is still our neighbor, as is a Muslim or a Hindu or a Buddhist. Our Christian faith does not narrow or limit our neighbor horizon. And I think we all know that, and I think we all believe that. We Catholic Christians are pretty good at opening our doors to everyone without compromising who we are and what we believe. And I think this is what has troubled so many about what the Pope says in this documentary, because they believe that he has compromised a central belief of the Church, but he has definitely not done so. He's opened the doors of our hearts to recognize that our neighbors come in various shapes and sizes and colors and beliefs, etc. No matter who they are, how they think, or what they may believe, they are still our neighbors, and we are still connected to one another. We can be tempted to write people off even before we truly know them. We can be tempted to make blanket judgments, like all Muslims are terrorists or Catholic priests pedophiles. We can give blanket judgments because of the sinful actions of the few portrayed as the many. It's a human flaw. It's a trap that we can, from time to time, easily fall into. The Samaritan does not ask the person half dead on the side of the street who he is, where he's from, or what he believes. He simply responds to the obvious need, while others who think they know better walk by on the other side. As Pope Francis writes, there are only two kinds of people: those who care for someone who's hurting and those who pass by, those who bend down to help and those who look the other way and just hurry off. Here, all our distinctions and labels and masks fall away. It is the moment of truth. Will we bend down to touch and heal the wounds of others? Will we bend down and help another up? This is today's challenge, and we should not be afraid to face it. In moments of crisis, decisions become urgent. We say amen. We recognize that our world is in quite a bit of a crisis. Decisions have become urgent. Let's hope that they are the right decisions. Pope Francis does stir things up, just as Jesus did, but always for the right reasons. In Fratelli Tutti, he highlights how fundamentalist intolerance is damaging relationships between individuals, groups, and peoples. Let us be committed, he writes, to living and teaching the value of respect for others, a love capable of welcoming differences, and the priority of the dignity of every human being above his or her ideas, opinions, practices, and even sins. He prioritizes the dignity of every human being over their ideas, opinions, practices, and even sins. Of course, what is central to loving others is loving and respecting oneself. We love others usually as we love ourselves. If we are unjustly hard on ourselves, we'll probably be unjustly hard on others. If we strive for perfection and get frustrated with ourselves because we simply cannot attain it or get anywhere close to doing so, we will probably reflect our frustration onto others. If we don't see ourselves, despite all our flaws, as a gift from God, then it will be practically impossible to see other people in the same light. If we're hard on ourselves, we'll be hard on others. If we judge ourselves unfairly, we will judge others unfairly. The way we love and deal with others hinges on the way we love and deal with ourselves. We project ourselves onto other people. One of the other items that Pope Francis touches upon in the documentary is our treatment of aliens, of immigrants, which has been a central theme, as we all know, of his pontificate. It's also a central theme of the first reading. If you listen to it very carefully, today's first reading from the book of Exodus. You shall not molest or oppress an alien, for you were once aliens in the land of Egypt. Unless we're Native Americans, we are aliens in this land, which has become our home. We mustn't forget our own history. In Exodus, the Lord is saying, you were immigrants. Don't oppress the immigrants of today who cry out to me for help, for deliverance, as you once did when you were in Egypt. Those who cry for justice are always on the top of God's priority list. If he cries out to me, I will hear him, for I am compassionate. There is a temptation to look for scapegoats when things are not generally going very well. However, blaming a certain group of people or a particular country for the challenges we face is probably not the best way for us to resolve them. We cannot change what has happened, such as the arrival of COVID-19, but we can work together to resolve it and to confront it. The blame game always leaves us in the quicksand. And as we approach the general election in just over a week's time, there is a section in Fratelli Tutti which serves as a wonderful meditation for anyone who is seeking office, and not just for the presidency. We do well to ask ourselves, writes Pope Francis, why am I doing this? Why am I seeking office? What is my real aim? For as time goes by, reflecting on the past, the questions will not be how many people endorse me, how many people voted for me, how many had a positive image of me. The real and potentially painful questions will be, how much love did I put into my work? What did I do for the progress of our people? What mark did I leave on the life of society? What real bonds did I create? What positive forces did I unleash? How much social peace did I sow? What good did I achieve in the position that was entrusted to me? In the end, everything that we do, everything that we achieve, everything that we accomplish in this life hinges on the two great commandments. In them we find the actual reason why we are here on earth in the first place. Amen.